Hey guys, Luke here. Got a quick battle report for you this time. At least a partial one. We're only able to play for like 2.5 turns, but I figure I had to have the pictures, so why not throw together at least the report I have. The same guy I played last time wanted to come over and have a rematch, Ogres versus Bretonnia, so we bumped up the points to 2,000 and rolled up some new army lists here. So bottom to top, he's got Sabertusk, followed by an Iron Blaster, 4 Mornfang with Iron Fists, but no fancy banner. He's got 7 Iron Guts here with a BSB and a level 2 Butcher. He's got 8 Ogres there in a big clump. You can the back rank is apparently backwards facing lead belchers. That's kind of funny. But in the middle of that group is a level 4 Slaughtermaster with the Lore of Heavens. And Grutsickle as well. The 10 ghouls out in the field there are Noblars. The Chariot is actually a second Iron Blaster, and then he's got 2 more Sabertusks. This is probably the best picture we have of the battlefield. We have a big Tower of Blood in the middle. We decided to use the new terrain piece that's I'm still putting together. Got that over the holidays as well. So that's a garrisonable building, and it's big. We thought it'd be pretty fun to see what that would be like to have basically these two armies that want to crash into each other and everyone reroll into hit. So that's one of the 2 pieces that actually came into play. The other one is there's a piece of Garden of Moor on the left of the battlefield there, and that's any wizards within 6 inches get +1 to casting. Other than that, battlefield is pretty much as you see it. Left to right, my army, I've got 5 mounted yeomen, and I'm using Blood Knights for those guys there. Next to them are Knights Errant with the Errantry banner, BSBs in there. Then Knights of the Realm with a level 4 caster with the Lore of Heavens. Then I've got 3 Pegasus Knights in the middle, and behind them are 6 Grail Knights. I'm trying those for the first time because I got some of those over the holidays. Next to them is a big group of, I think it's 44 or 45 men-at-arms, and then there's a damsel in there who has the Lore of Beasts and the prayer icon, so she can give them the blessing. And off to the right, I've got 10 peasant bowmen with braziers. And behind the guys, I've got 2 trebuchets sitting in the back. You can see hopefully most of the battlefield, but it's kind of tricky. This looks to be just another shot of it. And then after Vanguard movement, I didn't really have a lot of safe places to put my Pegasus Knights, so I hid them behind the Tower of Blood there. Didn't want them to get shot up by the Iron Blasters, or at least make it easy for them. Then I have moved my mounted yeoman up and angled them a little bit there. So on Ogre turn 1, he charges in with his Sabertusk, get a standard shoot, and put 1 wound on it. The rest of the guys pretty much just move up, and on the other flank about the same thing. During shooting, he's able to put 1 wound on the trebuchet, and it's like the first time I've ever played this guy while playing my Bretonnian army where he hasn't blown up one of my trebuchets turn 1, so I felt pretty good about that. I've still got them both. During during Magic, he's beating me in dice by about 3. I think I dispelled Ice Shard Blizzard on the trebuchet, and then he was able to cast Chain Lightning and hit the men-at-arms unit. I think it killed 1, but then it jumped to the Grail Knights, killed 2 of those, and then jumped to the Pegasus Knights and did 1 wound there. So that was a pretty decent spell. Then I believe he got Curse of the Midnight Wind off. That's why there's a card there by the Peg Knights. During close combat, yeah, I guess that was the best picture of it. During close combat, I break and pursue and catch the dog, and I'm parked my mounted yeoman basically after that right in front of the Iron Blaster. This is Bretonnia turn 1. On my turn, I charge with my men-at-arms. The rightmost Sabertusk, who flees, and I redirect it to the other one. You can't really see it there, but they're parked right in front of it. The Grail Knights move up just to kind of... They're going to be really close to that building, but hopefully they can support there as well, the men-at-arms. On the other side, we've got... I basically decided I was going to try to tie up I wasn't quite sure what to do there. It was a big mess. So I said, you know what? I'll move and tie up the Iron Blaster with the mounted yeoman as best I can. And without really a lot of things I felt I could do with the Pegasus Knights, Those ogres just looked so massive and difficult to get through. I decided just to use them as a throwaway unit here and try to angle them. It was that way. I was able to move up with my 2 knights, my 2 knight lances, and hopefully not allow them to be charged by the Mournfang. It looks from this picture like if the Mournfang charged in, they were going to be able to overrun and hit the Knights Errant. But I know it was a fairly tough distance, and I think that when these guys came together, I thought I had it measured out so that they weren't gonna clip the Knights Errant. But man, from this picture, I could have been wrong on that. So in close combat, the Mounted Yeomen get destroyed, and they break. The Iron Blaster pursues and goes into the flank of the Pegasus Knights. And then the Men-at-Arms just wipe up the dog. On Ogre's turn 2, the Iron Guts move into the building. The Ogres charge the front of the Men-at-Arms, and then jumping ahead here, the Mournfang charge into the Pegasus Knights. I believe during Magic he uses the sickle, and he's only able to get Ice Shard Blizzard off the Men-at-Arms, so they have to reroll. And then there's no shooting because everyone's pretty much locked down. The Men-at-Arms, in close combat, the Men-at-Arms fight, and I think everyone's able to reroll their misses there. But they kill the Damsel right out, which sucks. So there's no Beast Magic coming in to help. Lose a ton of guys, but I hold. The Grail Knights are right there to give their leadership, and I'm definitely steadfast. On this side, there's like a ton of impact hits, but it does actually take going into actual swings for them to kill the Pegasus Knights. I'm not able to do any wounds, and then Mournfang overrun. I wasn't quite sure what order that went in, but we pretty much decided that you can reform and then do overrun, so the Iron Blaster is able to reform, combat reform, get out of the way, and then the Mournfang were able to overrun, and they're just parked right there in front of the 2 Knight Lances, which is pretty much where I wanted them. So we'll see if I got any chance at hitting them. This is it. So in Bretonnia turn 2, I charge with everyone I can. I've got Knights Errant that charge into the front of the Mournfang, and I've got Knights of the Realm that charge into the flank. You can see at the top of the screen there, I've got my 4 remaining Grail Knights. They charge in and are barely corner to corner able to flank the Ogres up there. I actually had to move the guy in the second rank over because, from what I understand of the rules, he wasn't going to be able to give supporting attacks because he would be within 1 inch of that building, and he wasn't going to be able to be there. I could be wrong on that, but that's how we ruled it at the time. During Magic, I was able to get the Comet off, the juiced up version. Just barely. My caster was within 6 inches of that piece of terrain, so she got +1. So that Comet's going to go right there. You can see there's a Mournfang missing because during shooting, my trebuchets were trying to hit the Iron Blaster. They had to do indirect shots because I couldn't actually physically see him with those big fat Mournfang in the way. One just went way off target, and the other one clipped the Mournfang and did enough wounds to kill one, which was pretty awesome. During close combat, he does a ton of wounds. I think he kills 7 Men-at-Arms. My Grail Knight, who's in combat, issues a challenge. Slaughtermaster accepts. I put 2 wounds on the Slaughtermaster, but everything else is pretty much okay. I think we were even or pretty close. So everyone's stuck. I was able to, wasn't quite sure how to do this. We both wanted to combat reform, and then actually he decided he didn't want to. He was going to try to block me in, but we looked at the rules, and you can't change the where your opponent lies within. So he was going to try to get a bigger frontage and not put me out of his flank. We saw you couldn't do that in the rules. Then I wanted to shift more of my knights down, and we weren't sure if the same guy had to, it sounded like the same models had to be in the same base contact they were before, or at least something like that. So we just kind of shimmied down such that I was able to get, I think, 2 more attacks in. The same one guy who could attack was now on the other corner. We weren't quite sure how to do that, if you could just go up and down the line, but that's kind of what we settled on. On this side of combat, he decides to challenge. I tried to skip right by that. He challenges, and I accept with the unit champion of the Knights Errant, who gets just slaughtered. But I am able to, it limits combat a little bit, but I think my BSB is able to pop off 1 more Mournfang, so they should be down to 2 at the end of this, I believe. I don't remember how CR went, but I think I won and he held. guess that's just another picture of it. Okay, so Ogre turn 3. He moves his Iron Guts out of the building. You can see him behind the Knights of the Realm there. He charges his Iron Blaster into the front of the Knights Errant. And off screen, I believe the Nobblers get into combat and chase the Peasant Bowmen right off the board. That's basically it for this area. I think that's it for movement as well. Oh, he also has a Saber-Tusk who charges into the flank of the men-at-arms there. During Magic, the Comet goes off, but everyone was too far away, and I rolled like, I think, 4 inches. So it could have been really helpful, but it didn't hit anyone. It's really low casting and Dispel dice count. I think it's like 4 versus 2. But he tries to cast Ice Shard Blizzard on the Men-at-Arms. They're getting small enough here, so I use a Dispel Scroll on it. But it doesn't help. We go into close combat, and I lose by 4, and both units break, sadly. I think the Saber-Tusk chases down, you can see at the top there, chases down the peasants and kills them. And the Grail Knights flee right through the Iron Guts. They make all their dangerous terrain tests, but they're parked like an inch and a half away from those guys, or an inch away, or something like that. So that sucked. But at the same time, I'm thinking it might buy me a little time here. I'll rally those guys, assuming I can rally those guys. Next turn, it's gonna, I'm gonna use those guys to hopefully stop the Iron Guts from charging into those Knights of the Realm. And if I can win that combat down here, oh gosh, the Knights Errant are taking a beating. But if I can win it, I can hopefully turn around and try to fight. But during close combat, basically, I lose quite a few Knights of the Realm. He challenges again, and I accepted, but I accepted with, I probably shouldn't have accepted, thinking that through, but I didn't want him to put my BSB to the back, because I was going to need those, I just thought I was going to need him in there for CR, so I accepted with the champion of the Knights of the Realm, but what that did was it completely limited. The Knights of the Realm couldn't even help in the combat then, and I didn't realize it until I had said, yeah, he accepts, but because of the way that is, they didn't even get to fight. He kills the champion of the Knights of the Realm, no problem. And my Knights Errant, I mean, they're not charging this turn, so I think they maybe did 1 more wound, if even. But everyone holds. And sadly, that's where the game ends, because my partner had to go. We spent too much time dinking around. But I figured I got the pictures. We can talk about where we were. I didn't get my 3rd Bretonnian turn. I wouldn't have... if he challenged again, which he probably would, I probably would have sent the BSB to the back, and just so I could get those Knights of the Realm to get some attacks in. I don't think it was likely I was going to win that combat with the Iron Blaster in there and those 2 Mournfang, but if I did, hopefully, I'd have time to either overrun or combat reform and be ready to potentially help charge those Iron Guts. But there were, a lot of Iron Guts and then Ogres behind them. I was going to have to keep that level 4 caster around to help. I was feeling like the game was already ending. But it's Warhammer. You feel that way after the end of all your turns that don't go perfectly, and the game swings quite a bit. But it was a fun game. The terrain, everyone re-rolling to hit was crazy. There were re-rolls all over the place. And it was pretty fun. It's very weird to play these 2 armies, both of them jockeying to charge each other. So you do anything you can to get the charge in. But it was a good game, and I wish it could have gone all the way, but I think it was looking like a pretty solid victory for the Ogres. Thanks for watching.